All right, so we're continuing with writing our equation of a parabola with day 2. The difference today is that the origin's not going to be at 0, 0, so we need to use our full formula. We're going to use x minus h quantity squared equals 4 times p times the quantity y minus k. Now, mind you, we're going to be putting values in for h, p, and k. HK is the vertex, so our job is going to have to be to figure out where that vertex is. So we're going to, on a graph, for some steps to kind of follow, we're going to draw on the focus and the directrix on the graph. We're going to connect the focus and the directrix perpendicular. So we're going to make sure that that line between them is perpendicular. We're going to find the midpoint of the segment, and the midpoint is where that vertex is. So we're going to look at a couple examples. We have the focus is at 3, 5, and our directrix is at y equals -3. So we're going to draw both those in on a grid. So directrix is at -3. That's a dotted line I'm going to draw in, and it's y equals, which means it's a horizontal line crossing the y-axis. My focus is at 3, 5, so up here. Now, this is my focus. I know my vertex is halfway between the perpendicular distance between the focus and the directrix. So I want to connect these perpendicular. And let's see, let's use an orange color. I know the vertex to my parabola is on that orange line, and it's in the middle. So if this is 5 units this way and 3 units this way, that means my segment, this orange segment, is 8 units. And I know my vertex is in the middle. So I take my 8 divided by 2, and my vertex is 4 value. Not at the number 4, but at the 4th value. So it's right in the middle. So if I start at 5 and I go down 4, I'm at 1. If I start at -3 and go up 4, I'm at 1. So this point here, this point at 3, 1 is where my vertex is. That's the vertex of my parabola. I have h and k. Now, I need to figure out p. So my p value is very simple. It's actually right there. It's that 4. It's that distance. That's the halfway point between your focus and your directrix. So I now have h and k, so I know 3, 1 is my vertex. That's h and k. I know my p value is 4. So now I'm going to go to my equation. I'm going to plug them in. So my equation says I'm going to take my x value. I'm going to subtract that h. I am going to write my 4 times my p value times y minus my k value. Now, I am going to do some simplification here. Not too much. I'm going to leave this as x minus 3 squared, but I'm going to multiply. 4 times 4 is 16, and that is y minus 1. And I'm going to leave it just like that. That's my equation. Now, if I want to graph this, and finish my graph, I know my parabola is going to go this way. It's going to open up because the directrix is below it. The foci is above it. So I can pick values. I can create a quick little table of values to use. And I can say, all right, I'm going to go on both sides. I'm going to plug in 2. Whoops. I'm going to plug in 1. And let's see, that's 2, 1. So let's go 4 and 5. So when I plug it in and I simplify it, so I'm plugging in 2 for x, so that would give me -1 and it's squared, so I divide off the 16 and then move the 1 over. So simplifying your math, we get 1.1, 1.3. Here we have 1.1, and this is going to be 1.3 because the beauty of parabolas is they are symmetrical. So these are the values you plug in and you simplify and solve it for y. I'm going to graph those. So at 2, we're at 1, 1. At 1, we're at 1, 3, so slightly above. 4, 1, 1. 5, 1, 3. So our parabola is kind of making this wide shape here. And there we go. That's it. We're going to look at one more example. And of course, if that one's opening up, you know that the next example we're going to be looking at is going to open down. So first things first is we need to actually draw in the directrix and the foci, or the focus. So let's put them in orange. So at +6, so our directrix is up here. And our focus is at -4, +4, so it's here. Now remember, your p-value, your vertex has to be between the two. And we need to figure out where that is. So we got to connect these with that perpendicular. The distance between 4 and 6 is 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and that's my p-value. So my p-value is 1. That's telling me that my vertex is in the middle. So that leaves the vertex to be, let's see, that's -4, 5. Now, I want you to think about this. The F is below the directrix. On our other example, the focus was above it. When it's above it, it's positive, but when it's below, that means my p-value is -1. Okay? Now, writing our equation. So it is x minus h, that's minus a -4 squared, equals 4 times p, which is -1, times y minus the 5. Only the x value is squared. We are going to clean this up a bit. This double negative becomes a positive, so I get x plus 4, quantity squared. 4 times -1 is -4, y minus 5. And that's as cleaned up as our equation's going to get. And we could pick a few points to graph. So we can plug them in and figure out what the graph looks like. I will leave you to do that and finish it off in your notes because I know many of you don't copy this down. So grab your table of values. If this is here at this point, maybe plug in the values for x, -5, -6. And then on the other side, be -3, -2. Find your x values, plot them, and finish up this graph in your note.